Check, check. Check, 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 check. Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the end. The end of the KFC story. And I have held on to this last episode for a very long time, mulling over how I would end this series by giving away enough information without giving away too much information and getting myself in trouble or getting my sources in trouble. And also, it's been very painful because I know from both the comment sections on the previous videos and from how much information has flooded into my email box, how incredibly passionate people are about the KFC story and their belief in certain parts of the KFC mythology. And that mythology is incredibly strong, and most of that mythology is driven by KFC Corporation itself. They've planted ideas in our mind through advertising or through leaked stories here and there in order to sway what we think of the company, take our eye off the ball almost. And I realized I had a small part in creating that mythology. I worked on my first KFC ad probably 25 years ago, and I worked on a ton of Kentucky Fried Chicken ads in the years since. And I noticed over those years how much everything changed, that there wasn't a single thing happening, that every time we came back to do a new ad, the methodology would have changed. Even when we were doing an ad on a certain day, the chicken that had to be shown in the ad, if the ad was going to be shown in different markets around the world, the chicken had to be different. It was cooked differently. The spicing was different. Different methodology in the way to make it. And I also got a lot of emails and comments from people who worked at KFC. Some of my cousins worked at KFC when we were in high school, and I brought it up at a family gathering, back when we could still family gather. And there was an argument at the table over what happened in the kitchen at KFC, because everybody remembered something different. And some of that is down to they worked at KFC at different times, and that was just the way that the recipe shifted over time. And I thank everyone who has commented or sent me an email about their experiences either working at KFC or what they remember from KFC, little tidbits of information here and there. It all helped me sort of sort through what was happening here. I went down a huge rabbit hole, and I have dug up and listened to and watched so much information about Colonel Sanders. We traveled to Kentucky. We spoke to people who worked with Colonel Sanders. Listened to all kinds of audio tape where Colonel Sanders talked about the recipe, talked about his suppliers and so on and so forth, and we've watched him on video making the recipe. And he was pretty free with the methodology that he wanted to use. He always used milk and eggs. Buttermilk was never part of the formulation. The oil that he used was hydrogenated vegetable oil, and it would have been, in his time, hydrogenated cottonseed oil. All of that information started to gather together. And then I got an email from a person that I met 25 years ago on the first KFC ad that I ever worked on. And I was a production assistant at that point. And if you know anything about film production, the production assistants are right at the bottom of the call sheet, lowest people on set. We do all of the grunt work. You drive around town in the days before the ad, and you pick up all of the gear and all of the stuff. You carry it all into the studio, and on set you do all of the grunt work. And so on this first KFC ad, one of my tasks was to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, meet with a person, this person I'm talking about, and gather up all of the things that we needed to build a kitchen on set in order to do the ad. So that's fryers and all of the associated equipment. And over my career in film, doing advertising, I really got to know this person very well. We worked on a lot of KFC ads together. They saw the videos, contacted me, and said, you know what, probably help you out a little bit. I can't give away their name. I can't give away too much about them, although even just saying that I know them from advertising might give it away. What I can tell you is that this person's parents owned KFC restaurants in Canada. They knew Colonel Sanders. They had the recipe. I was given the recipe by this person. And I looked at it and I thought, it doesn't quite jive with what I've seen in all of the online forums. It doesn't quite jive with all of the formulations that we've done in all of the videos up until this point. But it's a lot closer than that one from the Chicago Tribune, which everyone says is the secret recipe, which was absolutely garbage. If you watch that video, you'll notice I took the plate with that chicken and put it back over here because it was so far away. Forget about it. So I, armed with that information, I started playing around. So they gave me a list of ingredients, but they didn't give me the amounts. So I don't know what the percentages are, but I know what's on that list. And as I was going through this whole process, I came across something called, let me get my iPad out because I need to read this off and make sure I'm reading it correctly. The Kentucky Fried Chicken League of Ireland. And it was started by a guy named Pat Grace. Pat Grace's connection is that he's from Ireland. He moved to Toronto, to Canada, to Toronto, and was working here, fell in love with Kentucky Fried Chicken, thought to himself, this would go really well in Ireland. I wonder if I could open these restaurants back in Ireland. He met Colonel Sanders because after Colonel Sanders sold the American restaurants, he opened restaurants here in Canada and owned them here in Canada and also owned the rights to sell KFC worldwide. And that didn't change until the 80s, after his death. So Pat Grace meets with Colonel Sanders, become fast friends. There's a little piece of video here from the BBC, and I'll play that.
Is this man? Pat Grace has gone from being a not-too-successful horse trader and door-to-door salesman to being a millionaire twice over. Things started to go right for Pat Grace when he met the legendary Colonel Sanders and was converted to the taste and the profit margin of the finger-licking good poultry. Just lately, there's been a bit of a legal dust-up over the ingredients you're supposed to use in the batter that covers Kentucky Fried Chicken. Pat Grace lost the tussle in the High Court and was obliged to change the names on his shops and the Football League sponsorship.
And so Pat seems like quite the character. He's got the Pat Grace Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants in Ireland. And in this time period, even here in Canada, Kentucky Fried Chicken, you didn't go to a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant or to a KFC restaurant. You went to a restaurant that was most likely called Scott's Chicken Villa, and they served Kentucky Fried Chicken. Anyway, back to Pat Grace. After the Colonel's death, the worldwide KFC operations are balled into the American corporate operations. And the American corporate operations then start cost-cutting as they had been doing in the United States. Up until that point, the rest of the world had enjoyed better chicken because the Colonel made sure of it. Pat Grace gets a little, ticked off. The Colonel wanted us to make the chicken this way. And so he fought a court battle, as it said in that little piece of video, and he lost. And he had to change the names of his restaurants because he still wanted to serve the Colonel's chicken. And he was able to serve the Colonel's chicken. And this is sort of a pattern that I noticed in my reading through lawsuits brought against Colonel Sanders. He would often give the recipe out to his franchisees because he wanted them to make better chicken than the corporation in the United States wanted him to make. Which led to this seasoning called Marion K 99X. This probably is 90% there at this point. There's been changes apparently made over the years that have changed the flavor a little bit, but back in the day, this essentially was Colonel Sanders' mix. Court cases won and lost over that. And so as I was researching Pat, I came across a website for Grace's Perfect Blend. Eventually, Pat closed the restaurants. His son opened this business called Grace's Perfect Blend using the Colonel's recipe. And they sell this chicken blend to chicken shops all over the UK. So that you've probably been eating the original KFC at one of these restaurants that uses this blend if you're in Ireland or the UK. And so I struck up a conversation with Carl, Pat's son Carl. And we had a long email exchange back and forth. We had a bunch of really long phone calls. And eventually he says, you know what, you seem like a cool guy. I'm going to send you a bag of our seasoning and I'll give you the list of ingredients. I'm not going to tell you the amounts, still need to keep some secrets, but I'll give you the list of ingredients. And you know what? Carl's list of ingredients meshed pretty much exactly with the list of ingredients I got from my contact here in Toronto, with the exception of one ingredient. So here are the ingredients. Now, I don't know the exact amount of how much of each of these ingredients is in the mix, but I do know that they both gave them to me in a descending order. So the first ingredient has the most in the mix, and then a little bit less, and then a little bit less, and then a little bit less. And they were pretty much in exactly the same order as well. A couple of them are switched, so who knows. Number one ingredient, everybody agreed, salt. No argument there. The next four ingredients are some form of pepper. We've got finely ground black pepper, coarsely ground black pepper, cracked black pepper, and finely ground white pepper. And both of my contacts agreed on these first five ingredients. The orders were swapped on a couple of these, but we don't know, or I don't know, what that means, whether one is 12% and the other was 15%, whether it was a big difference in the amount in the final mix, who knows. But they both agreed on those. The next ingredient in both lists was different. Carl in Ireland uses allspice, and my contact here in Canada uses summer savoury. And summer savoury is something that comes up a lot as a possible ingredient, and I hear it all the time, summer savoury, summer savoury. Either of those two could be. I've mixed up with these spices and come up with something that's not quite right, but I can see how it is quite right. The next ingredient that they both listed was coriander seed. That's a contentious one. A lot of people say there couldn't be coriander in it because it leaves them with a soapy taste. But coriander seed does not have the chemical compound that the leaves have that give you that soapy taste. So I tend to believe that that's there. I think that's in there. The next ingredient that they both said was ginger, MSG. They both agreed on MSG, but where it was placed in here in the mix, I don't know. But they both also said that this is not included in the 11 herbs and spices. This is the 12th ingredient. So MSG. Then we have thyme, sage, and marjoram. Okay, we're going to start with a milk and egg wash. This is just a few eggs with some regular milk. I'm just going to whisk that together. And next we have the Carl Grace spice mix. Okay, so this stuff smells amazing. It's pretty much what you would expect from KFC. It's got that KFC, definitely. This smells the same, obviously just a little bit stronger because it's not mixed with flour. But it's got that oomph. So, let's get to frying. Okay, the chicken gets a dip in the milk and egg wash. And we just mix that together, make sure it's all covered. And after the egg wash, into the flour mixture. And we get that fully coated. Toss it around, press it down, make sure all the sides and all the nooks and crannies are completely covered in the breading. Out of the breading and into the pressure fryer. There we go.
Oh my
Hey, Jules.
goodness, what are you doing, Glenn? Hi, Glenn. Hey, friends.
I figured the oil was hot.
Ooh, chips!
I'll make chips. I don't need to pressure fry them. I just thought the oil's hot, I'm going to make chips. So, they won't be ready yet, but we'll taste
The next version. The last version.
The last version of chicken.
It looks good.
I'm pretty happy with it, and I have to admit,
You're getting much better at running this fancy thing.
Well, yeah, getting the temperature and the pressure right is a job, because the pressure and temperature from the commercial units isn't transferable to this as much as this is a commercial unit. It's not the giant one that they have at KFC.
So I know you've probably already told all your friends.
Yep.
What are the key differences? Like you were telling me that there are a few key things in this that are new.
So this is from my new friend in Ireland, Carl.
Oh, yeah.
And his recipe came from his father, which was handed down. And it's different than what's on the forums. All of the recipes on the forums have some sort of hot pepper or garlic. This has neither.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, his breading is really close. So let's dig in.
Full of our sleeves. Ready to go. I'm going to take this little one in the
I'm
middle.
going to try this little one here.
Okay. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's tasty.
Really
If
good.
you told me it was KFC, I'd totally buy into it.
Yeah, completely. It's juicy, which is the pressure fryer, but it's really flavorful. And so I know that some people are going to be really disappointed that I'm not giving you the exact measurements. I can't. But if you're in the UK or Ireland, and you can find some place that sells Grace's
Strong blend?
Grace's Perfect Blend Strong Blend. This is the OG original recipe, or as close to the OG original recipe as you can get legally.
Okay.
If you're in North America, this stuff from Mary and Kay is going to get you like 90% of the way there. It's really good. And I think the ultimate answer is somewhere between these two. So
And like everything,
just
make it your own.
make it your own. I mean, this is damn good chicken. This is really
Does it
good
really
chicken.
matter?
No.
No, it's good. All right, my friends, enjoy. Glen's still eating, so thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.
See you again soon.